I'm from the South Bronx in New York City. I grew up during a time when America's cities were emptying into the suburbs, and neighborhoods like mine were burning, literally. The economics of the time made it more profitable for a landlord to collect insurance money by burning down his own building rather than trying to reinvest it in that market. That's where everything starts. There's a problem where you are, and an inequality and injustice. And as MLK wrote, an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I discovered that the irresponsible regulations, land use decisions, top-down planning helped create the economic patterns of the South Bronx of my youth. And those directly led to the environmental abuses in the South Bronx of today. We handle more than 30% of the city's, entire New York City's waste. 70% of our sewage sludge. We have a sewage treatment plant, 60,000 diesel truck trips roll through the neighborhood each and every week, 4 small power plants, and those trucks actually move the region's produce, and garbage in and out of our neighborhood, and it's really difficult, I gotta tell you, to find a decent head of lettuce in my neighborhood. But you can find plenty, of fast food joints. The South Bronx totally is not alone. Communities like it across the nation and around the world are point sources for the greenhouse gases that everyone wants to curb now. The truck routes supporting hyperconsumption and the waste that this consumption brings, the power plants, the chemical plants, the refineries, the waste treatment facilities are concentrated on top of our poor citizens, often communities of color. The health effects of being in close proximity to pollution sources are keenly felt in the extremely high asthma rates. Obesity and diabetes follow closely behind because folks won't even consider going out for a brisk walk for exercise in a neighborhood if they think they're going to get hit by a truck or if the air is repellent. There is now conclusive evidence showing that proximity to fossil fuels emissions, like the ones I mentioned earlier, cause brain damage in young children, reducing their ability to learn. And we know that poor kids that don't do well in school, statistically speaking, have a better chance of going to jail than they do to higher education. The kind of environmentalism that I do is called environmental justice. And for those of you that don't know what that is, it simply means that no community should have to bear the brunt of a disproportionate amount of environmental burdens and not enjoy environmental benefits. Right now, it is race and class that are really great indicators as where you're going to find the good stuff like parks and trees, where you'll find the bad stuff like waste facilities, coal mining plants. And I got to tell you, I entered this field because I wasn't satisfied with the way things were happening in my neighborhood. We were not willing to be the repository for all the things that wealthier and usually whiter communities could afford to avoid. I believe that our dreams for the beautiful future we wanted were the right dreams for everybody. And I didn't fear that others might consider us fools for having that kind of audacity to hope.